Early Thanksgiving and
Happy.
happy Wednesday.
There you go. I like
Got it
to
right.
say Happy Giving's Day.
Giving's Day.
Yeah.
Me too.
Because I think it's how's that? No?
Yes, I can hear you.
I got an echo on my side. But I just think it's such a great day to give back to our families, but spend time with them. Even through COVID, I'm Zooming with my family.
We
I'm
are
all
too,
the way
and we live
down
in
there
the
by
same
myself.
town.
Huh?
I said we are too, and we live in the same town.
How was your week?
It's a whole pandemic. People
I
are out
know.
here moving around and acting like there's not a virus going around killing people every day. So no, we're not going to be getting together as a family. We are going to be staying at home.
Yeah. So how is that gonna feel cooking just for like 2 people?
I got carry out.
Oh,
Because
really?
I didn't want to cook for 2 people. And it's cooking for 2 people is really cooking for one person because she's not even going to eat that much. She's 7.
Right.
She's going to take 5 bites of things and be like, I'm so full. I can't eat. So why bother? But you see what I have up.
Yes, I see. You jumped the gun.
I've been trying to put my Christmas tree up since November 1st.
Oh, Jesus.
She's like, it's too soon. Can you at least wait till Thanksgiving? So it's up. There's no decorations on it. So that's a compromise.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I was at Fresh Market yesterday, running around like a chicken with my head cut off.
Yeah.
Because I've been catering all week. I got 2 more caterings to bang out, and then a wedding by the end of the weekend. And I was at Fresh Market, and there was I guess you could say a Charlie Brown tree.
Oh.
Right. So, and it's a live tree. And it comes with its own little feet and everything. So I think I am going to get me a little tiny live tree. Even though I have fake trees. I have 2 other fake trees, but I might put those up too. So I might have 3 trees this
Might
holiday.
as well, because why the hell not?
Right? Right?
Like, why the hell not?
That's how I'm feeling. I mean,
But
it's just
otherwise, how are you feeling? I think that, I was texting a friend and we were just talking about this whole holiday thing. And I had seen a couple of people post these little memes about, I'm just different. It's just not right for me to have to stay home. And I'm just like, I'm making the decision to not even, I'm sure I will see the older kids and we'll do a little takeout exchange. But in terms of us like hanging out, we're just not going to do that. And like, I don't know. So that's just kind of frustrating to me that, that people are still kind of doing whatever they do. So whatever.
Well, we are in America. Everybody believes that they have a choice, regardless if it's going to affect anyone else or not. You know, so,
and with that same mouth, people still say, I just can't wait for things to get back to normal.
There is no normal.
They're not, well, they would be less if you would just like abide by the rules and regulations. So anyways, enough talk about that. I'm excited that it's Thanksgiving. I'm excited to spend time and be grateful. And honestly, 2020 has been a really crappy year, but I'm also excited to see what the next year is going to bring. I have so many like things that are like, like projects and little things that are working.
Right.
I have a feeling that I'm in 2020. It's just going to be like whoosh, 2021, which I'm excited for that. I'm excited.
I feel the same way. But you know what? Also, I am very grateful for 2020. It has completely
hard.
It's been amazingly hard. It's been amazingly challenged. It's shown people in their real face, their true selves. And that's when you just kind of open a door and push them out the door and say, thank you, but no thank you. I learned how to say no this year. I learned how to, at 50, at 51, I grew up a lot, But also I am very grateful for 2020 because I have fully come into myself.
I feel like that too. Like I'm just like unapologetically me. And
Yeah.
you know, this week has been a week of difficult conversations. And normally, because you know our Leo personality, right? There's either this or that. I
Right. No in
really
between.
try not to have difficult conversations, because once I get to that,
Right. It's
I
done.
don't know how to be a little bit of that. I can't be a little bit mad about something. I'm usually like cuss you all the way out, drag you so hard that you never want to speak to me again, mad.
Right. Right. And we try
Or I'm
not
just
to get
like,
to that point, you know? We try
yeah,
not.
or the opposite. I'm just like, man, whatever.
Right. Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
I feel this year, I feel like I have, you know, been more vulnerable than I normally am. I've also been more authentic than I normally am. And I've also been more like honest with
Okay.
people about like how I feel about things. And I was just telling a friend something today. I have the right to tell people how I feel, and they have the right to do whatever the heck they want to do with it. But I
Yep.
don't have to, you know, hold all that in to like preemptively keep from having conflict or
Right.
something. One of my friends, she's a psychologist, and she does a lot of like social justice work. And she said
Okay.
something the other day on her live. She said, healthy conflict is necessary. You have to hold people accountable. And
Right.
so I'm all about like healthy conflict. Like,
Right.
you know,
Right.
as long as we're both walking in our truth, then we have the right to disagree. I'm not going to be disrespectful. I'm not going to like, sometimes the truth hurts.
But haven't you noticed like people have gotten away from agreeing to disagree?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like what's really going on? Like I don't agree with you, but I'm okay about it, and you should too. And let's just move on. You
Right.
know?
The only thing that I can't agree to disagree about are like race issues and social justice issues. Like for me, those are like non-negotiables. But everything else, man, you know, it is what it kind of is, right? Like you have the right to have your own, you know, thoughts and opinions about things, and I don't have to necessarily like agree with every single thing that you're saying. That doesn't mean that we're not friends. It just means that I don't agree with that statement.
Right. You know? So
So anyway,
anyway, let's shake that off.
so that's where we are. We gave a little tidbit. That's our little life lesson situation for 2020. And things that I'm not taking into 2021. I feel like I always have to like drop that on people every week. Like this is stuff that I'm just like leaving. I'm just not doing. So anyway, I'm excited about our guest Kirk. Did you introduce me to Kirk? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm doing the happy dance.
Oh, okay. I was like, my computer somewhere. I was like, how did I meet Kirk in the first place? Okay, it was you.
I think the first time you met Kirk, we were in Seattle.
Oh, that's my happy place. Even though I only ever go there when it's cold and rainy. I still
Right.
love Seattle.
Yes, yes. That was an amazing trip.
Oh
That
my gosh, it was
when
wonderful.
Kirk showed up, and it was me, you, and Linda Evans,
Yeah.
and then
Christy came and helped for a little bit.
Chrissy. Oh, wait. Can we say one shout out? Shout out to Chef Chrissy. Her new restaurant is about to open on
Friday.
The communion.
Saturday. It might be Saturday.
The 28th. What's the 28th?
Saturday.
What's the 28th? Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah.
It's open on Saturday. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Very excited. I wish we were on a plane that was healthy and could get there and be in that kitchen with her and just shout for joy. Which Kirk also met Chrissy. I mean, he's met all the dear, loving people that I have close to my heart. That when it comes to the kitchen and in the world, because I guess my world is a kitchen, right? Let's just bring him on.
All right.
Yes.
Hey, Kirk.
Hey guys. Hey guys.
How are you?
Yeah. Chrissy, I owe her some grits. I was supposed to send her some, I think, a while ago.
Uh-huh.
Well, I heard that the grits are like a hot ticket item. I don't know how you sending anybody anything because they don't even be staying on the shelf long.
I know they go really fast. They really fast. So how you guys doing, man? It's
Good. So wait, before we get into the whole grits conversation, because people got to understand, like, they're like, wait, didn't they say they met him in Seattle? So why are they talking about grits? When we met in Seattle, you wasn't even thinking about grits. Where
right.
were you at that point of your life? And how did we get to the grits conversation?
At that point, I was living in Philly, and I was working for CBS. I was a cameraman for CBS, living in Philly, and I was doing an event in Philly called the Chef Series Experience. And so what that was about was it started off as somewhat of a supper club, and it featured different chefs in the city of Philadelphia, chefs of color, particularly Afro-American and a couple of Latinos. And so the goal for that was that the chef could do anything that they wanted to do except for traditional food.
Oh,
and if
nice.
they did do traditional, it had to be some amazing spin or take on it. So that's what. So how that started was going to a lot of events in Philadelphia. Philly is a pretty good food city, similar
Pretty
to
good.
Chicago
It's
or
good.
Seattle, New York. It's a pretty good food city, and I would work a lot of those events, those food festivals and things of that nature. But I always noticed that the chefs of color were always in the background. They were
Yeah.
always in the background. So um, living in the South for a long time. I was born and raised in New York partially, and then moving south. My parents are both from South Carolina, so there was a huge Southern migration in the 40s, 50s, and 60s of Southerners moving north for whatever reason, for work, mainly for work. So, but when we moved back down south, my parents, it was a lot of us. So my father couldn't get a transfer to, he was working for Bell South at the time. He couldn't get a transfer. Well, he got the transfer. Interesting enough, he got the transfer, but when he got down there, when he came down, because he came down 2 years after we came, this was in the 80s. When he got down, they had given the job to the boss's nephew. They had given the job. So when he got there, he thought he had the transfer. He was going there. So anyway, he had to take a job that made enough money, and the job was working on the railroad. He worked it was Seaboard, then it turned to CXS at the time. So he worked on the railroad, which was a really hard job. But he ended up in the camp car, which is the kitchen.
Right.
So he ended up in the camp car cooking for because the chef or the cook ended up going home sick or something to that nature. And he asked, could anybody cook? And my father was like, well, I can. And little did he know that turned into a long thing, because once he started cooking, they didn't want the old cook back. So
Okay.
Cooking is a big part of my family. It's just a big tradition.
I love that video with you and your mom and the fried chicken.
Yeah. Tonight, my mother right now is, both of my parents right now is this time, I heard what you guys said earlier, and I understand as far as the COVID situation. I definitely understand that, and I agree. We having a very, very, very small and close thing this year. It's only going to be a few of us, but for me, it's important because just recently in September, both of my parents was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, wow.
So
I'm so sorry.
it's sort of life is it's a conundrum, so to speak, for us. Because no one wants to bring anything in the house.
Right.
So we constantly washing and mask up, changing clothes. We constantly, but on the other hand, it was almost like when that doctor in September said she had stage 4. He was like, whoa. So it's like life is short to an extent. We don't want COVID to make it shorter.
Right.
Right.
We
And
don't
you
want
also
that.
need
We
to
really
enjoy.
don't want that. But we have to cherish the amount of time with the loved ones that we have because we just don't know. And
That's
my
right.
mother is spry, healthy, spry, and then all of a sudden, doctor says stage 4, your mind just goes crazy. So
Right.
this year, and then 3 weeks after that, they tell us my father has prostate cancer.
Oh, wow.
So it was just like, whoa. So this year's been an emotional roller coaster ride, very emotional roller coaster ride. But anyway, I go back to, just being in Southern families. Food is life. Food
Yep.
is just um, it's just a language in itself. And
Yeah.
so when I was in Philly, the food scene was a
Mm-hmm.
big deal. And to have those thoughts in my mind about my father being, on the camp car, um, being a chef, a cook. He wasn't a chef; he was a cook. And seeing those chefs that worked really hard, really, really hard, and didn't have the opportunity to showcase their talents.
Or get
And
credit, just much like
and
today.
you guys know this all too often. Um, and didn't get the credit. And these guys, there was some of them that was actually making menus and doing inventory and things of that nature, but they were still not getting the credit. So I just wanted to do something to one, give create an opportunity, and two, to honor my father and my, the culinary background from my family. And it turned out really well. And so that went from me just doing that event into doing marketing and things of that nature for Chefs of Color. And
Yeah.
that's how I ended up in Seattle, because Eric and I met from a phone call. We talked for maybe a
Yeah.
year and a half before we even met face to face. And
No, you went to the islands before you came to Seattle, right?
right, and
Yeah.
that was that the first time that I saw you,
I,
Erica?
The
I
first
didn't
time
go.
you met Shanita the first time in Seattle.
I met
The
Shanita,
first
yeah,
time me and you met, we were in Haiti,
in Haiti.
but we had talked to each other for 2 years,
Yeah, nearly
two,
2 years
3 years.
constantly before. So it wasn't even like it wasn't like it was like we already knew each other
Right.
and we'd seen each other face to face. So it was just a transition
It was like
into
a long lost brother. When you
yeah,
walked through, I remember that. And
yep,
it was just like clouds opened up. We gave each other such a loving brother
yep,
sister hug, and it was just like we finally got to like just be in the same room.
yep,
It
Right.
was
yep.
an amazing connection.
It was amazing connection, and on that trip, you introduced me to, and it was the same thing because I had met so many people online and on the phone and all of that, but there was so many of them there in Haiti. That was one of the most amazing experiences that I ever experienced. That first trip to Haiti was
It was
it's
intense,
so
right?
magical and
Yeah.
it was so many emotions all balled up in one, man. It was so loving, but then there's at times it was so uh painstaking. It was, because of one of Erica's things is she's a teacher. She's a teacher, and so many people look up to her as a teacher and as a leader in that sense. And I remember we visit what was the name of that school we visit?
I can't pronounce it. I can't pronounce it. It's in Creole, but it was a school in the middle of the ghetto. We were in Port-au-Prince, and we had decided with Chef Stefan that we were going to do a small little snippet of Minority Chef Summit, but we were going to do it there in Port-au-Prince. And so we lined up and was able to go to a school, a culinary school. But you remember it only had like 3 walls?
Yes. It only had, it was only 3
That's
walls.
where the library is, right? That
Yes.
Colleen did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're outside in the kitchen, you know, if it rained, it would rain in. But the crazy thing about that was it was so, just from American standards, it wasn't something that you would catch almost any professional chef or cook working in. But
That was not of color.
it's
Let's
not
say
of color.
Right.
But
Because you know, Black chefs and minority chefs in this country, we have mastered the art of making $1
yes,
out of 15 cents.
yes,
Okay.
you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. But those kids, man, those kids, they worked their butt off because they were so proud and they wanted to showcase what they have learned to these chefs that came in, and the excitement in their face was so,
Yeah.
it was so amazing. And so we were sort of torn emotionally, like, oh my God, you know, look at these conditions. But those kids was like, you're gonna see what we got to bring to the table.
Yes.
And they produced beautiful food that weekend. Beautiful food.
Yes.
It was amazing. Remember that long table?
Yes.
And it was just like beautiful colors of food, and we walked in like we had our chef jackets on, like we had our suit of armor on, like we were coming to like. Then we didn't matter. Like we all of a sudden once we walked in there, we didn't matter. It was about those beautiful kids that were so proud, and then we became so proud to be in their presence.
In their presence, yeah. It was amazing. So, you know, Chef Stefan is an amazing guy, he's an amazing brother, and he made a lot of stuff happen that weekend. For me, that was one of the most amazing experience of my life. I'll never, as long as I have memory, I'll never forget that. And the way you guys pulled me in, as if everyone was calling me chef. I'm like, I can fry some chicken wings, but I'm not a chef. So I was, and it was so amazing because I was everywhere that the chefs that were invited in went. I was able to be there as well. And I just popped up that I was like, I'm going to go. I'm just going to go. And I just popped up.
I remember that phone call. You called me, and I think I was heading to the airport, or and you said, Erica, I'll be there tomorrow. I was like, what?
Yep.
And you said, I'm packing my stuff. I got my bag. I got my cameras. I'll be there tomorrow. I was like, okay, let's do this.
And I just popped up, and when I got there, I didn't know where I was going, didn't know anything. Got a hotel room, got a cab.
And he put you right to work. You see
Yep.
And then
I got there, Stefan was like, you here? Okay, where's your camera?
All right, get your camera out. Time to go to work.
That's how that went. So, but I was in Philly at the time, and that's what I was doing. I was doing the Chef Series experience, and my professional life was in news for nearly 20 years. And I love being a cameraman, and I love being behind the scenes, but I was just dying inside. I was dying inside because, you know, I just, how many times can I do a shooting? How many times? My day could consist of interviewing President Obama at the time, to going to a fire where a child just perished in a fire. So it was tearing me up. So the Chef Series experience gave me an outlet, and I'm so thankful for it. And I'm so thankful. It took me a minute to get some of the chefs to believe in what the concept was, but once they believed in it, then it just exploded outside of Philadelphia, because people were like, I had people from India and Kenya and Vancouver. It was like, can we come be a part of it? I was like, I don't have the money to bring you in. I don't have. I don't. So I was like, I don't know what they're seeing. And that at the time, I just didn't know exactly what it was, what they were seeing. Um, and I had a real passion for that. Now I got burnt out on it as well. I got burnt out because um, there was
That's an effect of making $1 out of 15 cents. There's a
yeah,
faster rate of burnout because you're literally burning the candle at both ends and in the middle.
yes, absolutely, and my pockets. So it was but that was a part of my life that I really cherish. I learned a lot from both ends. So,
But do you feel like that brought you to where you are? I mean, now you went from a cameraman, chasing fires, interviewing presidents and dignitaries and celebrities, producing
mhm,
chefs events, and now you're back home,
yes.
uh, in the middle of a pandemic, and you launched a Southern food brand.
So I had no idea. I had no idea, really none. I had no. My mind when I left Philadelphia, I went to Charlotte, and I had no idea. My idea was to eventually get me a house in St. Thomas or somewhere of that nature and live on the beach and fry fish on the beach. That was my and sell beer and fried fish on the beach. But that was my idea. God always has when we have an idea, something, some way, some shape or form. Sometimes God is like, listen, easy,
Right.
take
Yeah.
it easy. So I had no idea, really had none that this would be happening, none. Because by the time I went home, I went to shop. I don't talk about this a lot, but I was dead broke. I was dead broke. I was broke financially, mentally, physically. I was just broke. I was a broken person, and so that really and I tried to hold face for a long time.
Well, because we always try to work through our brokenness because we don't feel
Yeah,
like that we have the ability to press pause or to pivot or to, we're like, oh, if we stop, we're going to get left behind. And that's just,
you're absolutely right, and that's how I felt. Was gonna get left behind. So I was dead broke. So I broken. I didn't know. I just didn't know. So I ended up back at my parents' house, which that was the last place that I wanted to be at that time. Thinking in my head that was the last place, but that was the place that I needed to be.
absolutely.
I needed to be, and so there, one day, just one day out of the blue, I remember being in the car, and a voice clear as day said, "You're gonna sell grits." I was like, "What? Grits? You're gonna sell grits?" I was like, "All right." I ignored that for a little bit because you're always thinking of what's your next move, what are you gonna do, how
Right.
you gonna pivot. You're always thinking of that, and so you're thinking of things, thinking it, and sometimes you see other people doing these things and they're successful at it, and you're like, all right, well, I can try that, and I can try that, but um, those things don't. When they're not for you, they're not for you. They're not gonna work. So I just sort of sat still, and the voice is just kept nagging. You're gonna sell grits. You're gonna do grits. So I started doing some research on grits. Started
Right,
doing
didn't
research.
we talk about where I had got those grits from? I didn't
Hmm?
know why you were asking me. I feel like at some point we had a conversation about grits because I was getting grits shipped up here from Modesto Island. And
Well, you and I had a conversation. You had gotten grits from Geechee Boy.
mm-hmm.
You had gotten grits from Geechee Boy. And the conversation, this was well before that because that never even crossed my mind at the time.
Wow,
My
that's
only my thought was at the time was Geechee Boy black owned. That's why when you told me because I think you had that event in Charleston in the Low Country, and you had got some grits from them. And so my thought at the time was, were they a black-owned company because of the name, and come to find out that they weren't. So, but my mind wasn't on that at the time at all. But fast forward, I started doing research. I listened to the voice and I started doing research. And at the height in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia, there were thousands of mills in the areas. There was South Carolina at the height had nearly 1,000 mills.
Wow.
You can go to a mill anywhere. Wow. Georgia, anywhere. Now, there's maybe 9 mills in South Carolina, maybe 9.
Was that pre-COVID or COVID result related?
No, it's just
over time. Right?
Over time. Okay. Over the course of time. It's just the industrial, what brought the into mills were mass production, and instant gratification. Right. So that's what brought the into the mills over time was.
So are any of those, out of those 9, are any of them like historic landmarks now, or they're all just industry and corporate?
The ones that are historic landmark are non-operational. I think it may be one that's operational, but the ones that are historic landmark.
Because when you say it like that, in my head, us all traveled through the Caribbean, especially you, Kirk. You've been throughout the Caribbean. Right. So in my head, I think sugarcane mills. So, yes. Carolinas, you think grit mills. But down there is like sugarcane mills. And so there's so many historic, still working sugarcane mills that are working down in the Caribbean. But up here, I'm just very surprised there aren't any historic grit mills in production and being used.
Yeah, they're most of them. Well, there's a couple of them. There's one in Virginia, I know, and there's 1 or 2 in North Carolina, and I think there may be 1 in South Carolina. But those are more so like museums now. Okay. They're historic landmarks, so they really don't. I'm sorry. Is that my? Do you guys hear that?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know if it's an alarm going off my phone. So those are historic landmarks. They're usually turned into gift shops.
Okay.
Things of that nature. It may be a few of them that's operational, but and the ones that's operational now are not the same way, because back in the day, a grist mill was usually on a pond or a river or a stream or something of that nature, because they had the big wheels.
Right, for the electricity to move. Yeah.
Now they ran by diesel or electric now.
Okay.
The mills, they're still the ones with the big stones in them, which make much of the product is much better than what you would get in from a Quaker.
Okay.
Because they do mass production. They just get a steel grinder and grind it up, and so that the product is just inferior. They have to add niacin, thiacin. They have to add gluten and all of these things to be able to keep it on the shelf.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because people are like, aren't grits corn? Why would you need to say gluten-free?
Right. So a lot of people ask that question. Are they gluten-free? People ask me that, and for the longest, I didn't understand why they were asking that question until I did research. I just literally went and grabbed a bag, and I was like, oh, no wonder they're asking that question, because there's gluten in here. Yep. You read it, and it's just a whole list of stuff that's in the grits, and I'm like, well,
right. That processed food, there we go again.
Yes. Right. And so processed food is the cause of the downsizing of the mills, because everybody wants this. they have to soak the grits, bleach the grits in order to make the grits cook in 5 minutes. You
Right.
can't cook just
Listen, if you
you
cooking your
can't
grits
cook
in five
these in
minutes,
just
I'm
5 minutes.
good. You can keep them. No, thank you.
Yeah,
Right.
yes, keep them.
And
So
also with your grits, you keep refrigerated.
right,
Once you purchase it and you receive it. Because I ran and got mine out the fridge. So,
good.
but I was like, wait a minute. And I had to think about it in my head, like, Erica, this is real food.
Yes,
It's not processed. So yeah, you keep it in the fridge. So, I want to say this because I was so excited, and Shanita could tell you. I set my alarm on my phone, and I remember seeing your post on Instagram. Tomorrow at noon, we're gonna open up for it so you can order. And I was at work, and I told everybody at work, even a customer, I will be right back.
thank you,
And
sis.
I put my order in, and I was so excited. And that's all I talked about.
If I don't go put the order in, we not getting no grits.
So
That's what I kept saying.
I really want to thank you for that. I appreciate that love and that support. Small businesses, we definitely have to support each other, and I thank you because all you had to do is say, "Listen, I need some grits," and they would have been there.
Yeah, I know, but this is business, and we in so many ways, we all support each other in so many
Yes.
ways. So with business, that extra revenue coming in, that helps you to put it out for even whoever else that's going to be able to see it, So
Yes.
of course, man,
So-
I'm just proud that I could get so much, and I sent something to Shanita, and I sent something to my mom. And I work for a family, and I gave some to them, and I was just like, this is my boy right here. You guys got to try this out. So, and then I think that following week, we talked about it when we came on the show, So this is for us is like a true honor because you putting out something that is history, a part of our ancestor history.
Yes.
You're doing something that is, and it's clean food.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And now you're bringing like a few episodes back, we got a chance to talk to Blue Adams with the Navajo Nation, and we were talking about this whole thing that they say heritage grains, and I'm like, you mean
Right.
indigenous? You mean the corn that was already here because the Indians had it? Is that what you mean by heritage grain? Like, can y'all stop and give them credit where credit is due, please? So go ahead.
No, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So I'm working. I don't know if you guys. There's a gentleman called Howard Conyers.
Yes.
And Howard is his father has gotten a hold. This family has gotten a hold to a seed of corn that's probably about 200 years old.
Oh, I think I saw this. I saw the
So,
episode.
I'm working with them to hopefully, because I would like for my whole supply chain to be small farmers, particularly farmers of color. I would like that because it's such a big gap. It's such a huge gap in that market. And but
right. I guess last week was a Black farmer, and she said that Black farmers are independently alone.
And that's the absolute truth. That's the absolute truth. So we talked about and just me learning more. We talked about the seed, and I, just doing some research. Of course, the corn that we use now is definitely not native to this land, and it's definitely not the same grain of corn that was. Corn is purple and red and blue and all different kind of colors, which I definitely at some point would love to get my hands on some of that and be able to produce just grits, a cornmeal for.
That's my mom. My mom says, we love your grits.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you. Thank you.
So you're trying to get into more of the boutique, small batch.
Yeah. So yes, to answer that question, I definitely want to stay boutique to an extent. I definitely don't. I don't care too much about being mass produced. I really don't care about that. The only way, you know,
Kirk, let me interrupt you because Chrissy, she just said, send me some grits. She's
Chrissy, I am gonna send you some grits.
you also getting love from Therese. Also, she says she needs 20-pound bags.
Wow.
So she want to show
Girl, he has to sell out. Ain't nobody else gonna get no grits while he sitting.
Well, I send 20 pounds. The most I can send at one time within the packages, because I do flat rate shipping. Chicago, they love yellow grits, man. I'm sending grits to Chicago, and I think it's because
they migrated from the South. A lot of people migrated
from the Mississippi
South
connection.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mississippians, people that have Mississippi heritage in Chicago. Arkansas, and I think it's that connection. And interesting enough, I send a lot of grits there. I send one chef at least 18 pounds a week, because that's all that can fit in the box. If more could fit in the box, then he'd get more. So sometimes there's 3 chefs in Chicago: Chef Q, Chef Lizzie, Jasmine, and then Chef DeAndre. They order a lot of grits in Chicago, so I love them. I love them up there. Chef Q is doing some amazing stuff in the community, man. She's doing some great stuff in the community. She's definitely, she has a place in my heart, because she really looks out for the kids in the community.
Awesome.
When the pandemic started and people were losing she stepped up. Her and her team, they went out and beat the streets, and they stepped up. So I'll send her grits anytime she asks. So, but as far as expanding and things of that nature,
I'm sorry, Christy is tripping. Forget Chicago. I'm all about that 206.
206. See, Christy, the thing is, not many people on the East Coast know about Seattle. We don't know much about Seattle. We didn't even know y'all eat grits over there.
Well, she is from. She's
from Kansas City.
She's from Kansas City.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I know Chef Eduardo is from Jacksonville, right?
Yeah. Who?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's from Jacksonville.
Eduardo?
Jordan, yeah, he's from Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I think he's from Jacksonville, so he knows a little about grits. I didn't even know. Well, it's even Kansas City. That's Midwest. They don't eat grits in Kansas.
Hold on. Pause. Wait a minute. You about to listen. We're going to have a really, really quick history lesson, okay? Kansas City is in Missouri. Missouri was a slave-owning southern state, okay? Now, we might be border to the Mason-Dixon line, and around here, we like to try to pretend like we're Midwestern, but it's the South.
Okay.
Stop.
All right, I'm going to look that up, and I'm going to, but tell Chrissy she'll get her grits. She's
she
definitely
said woohoo. I'm like, yeah, this is the South over here. We own slaves, and we need to stop. I'm in the Kansas side, and the Underground Railroad run right through Kansas City, Kansas. In the
I need to come out there, Shanita. I need to come out there. I'm going to come out there.
Absolutely.
People, the funny thing about grits are...
Don't make her call in, y'all. Don't make her call in.
The funny thing about grits is, for instance, people in Mississippi, people from Southern Florida, they won't touch white grits. People from the Bahamas won't touch white grits. And I got into a small tiff with a gentleman from the Bahamas, because he was telling me, you selling white grits, you're killing the people, you're bleaching the grits. And I was like, no, our grits aren't bleached. And he was like, yes, they are. Yes, they are. And I was
when I sold those Sea Island blue grits here, people were like, did you dye these? because your logo is purple, you just wanted the grits to be purple. I was like, the corn
is
stock like this.
Right.
And I was like, I had to say to a lady, I was like, how do you think you get blue corn tortilla chips?
She didn't think about that, did she?
That's why I was going back to that whole piece about in a heritage grain. I was like, okay, if the Indians are making
there she is. There she is.
How do y'all not know this?
People, they don't think about it. They really don't. They don't think about it, and they don't think. Chef Chris.
I'm hijacking this show because I want my grits.
So I'm gonna get you your grits. I promise. I'm gonna get you your grits.
Oh my goodness.
When my assistant reached out to me, I was like, "Yeah, I know her. We're gonna get her some grits."
Look, I've been patient. I'm just being patient. I know you getting started. You get it going. I said, I know he's gonna get me. I'm just gonna be patient, but I need the grits. You don't want me to use the grits.
I don't have a choice now. I'll put on the spot. I don't have a choice now.
Before I could get the grits from Geechee Boy, I was having to get those Bob meal, whatever those are, and those
red meal.
Red meal. They're not like bad, but they're not like good. So it's just kind of like it's better than other grits that people were serving here. But I know I offended a lot of people when I showed up on the scene with stone ground grits. They're like, the texture. I was like, yeah, it tastes like real food.
It's real.
Right.
Because I can't.
It's so good to see you guys.
They're too soft.
Soft and mushy. It's good to see you too, Chris. It's good.
I just came in late, but I'm curious how many like tons of grits do you do like in a period of time? Is it like a short growing period, or are you able to grow all year?
Well, so the corn, once the corn is harvested, it's already in. So I work with farmers. It's already in a hopper. Once the corn is harvested, and it's so it has to be heated up to kill the weevils in it. So it has to be heated a certain temperature, and so once that happens, it's clean and it's in the hopper, so it's in there all year long. So I usually grind about anywhere between 700 to 1,000 pounds a week. And I started out interesting. I had no idea. I started out with 50 pounds of grits. So
you don't grind them yourself, do you?
So now I don't have time to grind them. So now I work with a farmer that he's grinding them for me. You know, him and his team is grinding because I just don't have the time to do it now because we're still a small team. And I don't have
good.
I told him, I said he done started a whole grits company in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
You know what? This is the time.
That's because God was telling him to do something and he was obedient to the calling. And that's what people be doing. When it's your time, it's your time. Pandemic, monsoon, earthquake, it doesn't matter. It's your time.
Yeah. It definitely blew during the pandemic because I was so afraid at the time because the shipping costs. The shipping cost for me was a deterrent. When I found out the ship the grits cost more than the actual grits themselves. So I was like, nah, no one is gonna want these. No one is gonna buy them. And a buddy of mine, he was like, listen, put them out there. If they don't buy them, then you know they're not gonna buy them. He's like, but people understand that they have to pay for shipping. So just try it.
Yeah.
I didn't have a website or anything. So I was doing DMs on Instagram. I didn't have a website, and people would DM. And there was a chef out of Virginia, Chef Mickey Johnson.
Listen, if we can buy all these stupid little things that we were buying in COVID, I probably bought the most dumb Instagram ad stuff, like phone cases and cellulite reducing leggings. I mean, any doggone ad, girl.
What were you over there doing?
Okay,
You was doing too much.
I'm just saying, but it was an ad. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get those. We can get grits on Instagram.
And it has been happening. So it started out DM, 2 DMs. There was a chef in Texas, a chef. So it was mostly chefs to start out with, that wanted to try them. And then it was just.
Well, that's because you've done so much for the community. People want to support you too. That's a big part of it. I mean, you've always been out here making sure that we got play when nobody else was making sure of it. So definitely want to support you in that.
Thank you.
So what's the future of Southern Queen? What am I saying it wrong? Southern Queen food brands. What are you doing next? Are we,
Black eyed peas.
So interesting enough, want to do a gumbo. Want to do but right now, so this is a little off. We're working on a facial scrub.
Ooh.
With
Look, we all got excited. We're like, what's that?
Using the cornmeal.
Using
the cornmeal. So cornmeal is next because cornmeal.
Don't tell no more secret. Don't tell nobody else nothing.
Y'all need to just be following him. He got facial scrubs. He got cornmeal. So, and I'm telling you guys, when I make my cornbread with that fresh milled cornmeal, you talk about cornbread that's coming out like this. The level on the cornbread is out of this world.
We just made a dressing. We just made a stuffing tonight with the cornmeal.
Hey. Oh shoot!
Yeah, we made stuffing. Make the cornbread, fry the cornbread, and make a stuffing from it, a fresh dressing from it. So
nice.
That's really
I love it. Okay, it's 7:22. I'm about to throw that hardball question at you.
Yes.
This is everybody has to answer this. Christy knows she already did it. I need to know, in this year of reset, one thing that you feel like the food industry as a whole, leave it. Let's move forward in 2021, not doing that. And then something that you learned personally that you are leaving in 2020 and not moving forward in your life doing it. So like for the food industry one, I said $12 a person for catering jobs. Like that's done. Stop it.
All right. That's a good question.
Stop, Chrissy.
I'm listening.
In the food industry, leave. Well, as far as shrimp and grits, I don't want to say leave it, but
leave it. Leave it.
I can't leave it. I just put it on the menu.
Yeah, shrimp and grits do not look like this bullshit. Excuse my French that I be seeing on these posts. Okay, your shrimp and grits look like something. You got the fried okra going on. You got the shrimp, that are fresh.
So pretty, so delicious.
That's different. These shrimp and grits that we be seeing, I'm like,
womp womp.
So what I had to do was put myself aside and let's see, because coming in South Carolina, low country shrimp and grits are totally different. And so had to put yourself aside. Well, most people have never been to that area to know authentic shrimp and grits. So therefore, let people do what they do.
But stop posting it and calling that shit shrimp and grits. Okay? Call it something else.
Y'all stop making Shanita mad, okay?
Just don't do it no more. Because in 2021, I'm going to be commenting on your pictures. 2020, I was nice. Next year, I'm like, no, ma'am.
So, where are you nice, Shanita? Where are you?
Shanita, but the one thing, so my mother was like, "You're gonna sell grits for how much?" Nobody's gonna. She was like, "We grew up with grits. We had to grind our grits. Who's gonna pay that for them?" But then when she tasted them, she was like, "Oh my God, this reminds me of when I was a child."
Oh, that's beautiful.
So she was like, "Okay, I sort of get it. I get it now. And the more it's going, the more." So, but she was like, "We had grits with fat back. We had grits with fish. We had just plain grits and butter. And then she was like, no salt.
That back,
no sugar.
Good.
No
that's
so
a real Southerner.
That's what I want to leave.
are saying, don't put sugar on our grits, please. Just put some butter.
Okay,
So
listen. I
that's
can't
what I
believe you
want to
just
be.
said
But
that. What is wrong with sugar on your grits? I
Because
grew
this
up with
is,
sugar on
well,
my
remember,
grits.
Kansas City is border Southern, and we like sugar in everything, okay?
We
We put
do. On
sugar
our
in the
rice, I
potato
had it this
salad,
morning.
we put sugar in the
Listen.
chili, we put sugar in the spaghetti sauce, we put
Yeah,
sugar
ain't
in
nothing wrong with it.
everything.
Put sugar on your rice with some butter on top,
no,
with some fried chicken on the side, and be happy with it.
no,
Yes.
no sugar.
Hey, make it do the dance. What? What? What?
No
That's right.
sugar.
The close proximity to the Mason-Dixon line that causes us to do these strange
That's
things.
goodness.
And the sugar thing
Listen.
is it.
I
The
had it
cornbread
this morning.
here,
Listen.
because of where we are, if it don't taste like cake, these people are not fooling with it. That
And not
cornbread that y'all eat down there, no, I couldn't sell that. They were like,
well, here in
do you have
Jacksonville,
any
we like
Jiffy?
sweet cornbread. We like sweet cornbread in Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Our cornbread is savory.
Good stuff. Tastes like cake.
Why can't you have both? That's all I'm saying. Why can't you just have both?
Let's agree to disagree.
Yes. Okay, we can agree to disagree.
Okay, so what are you leaving personally? You want us to leave sugar on our grits and these weird versions of shrimp and grits. I'm feeling you all the way on that. That's trash. We're not doing that no more. But what did Kirk learn about himself in 2020 that he's not doing no more?
I'm not what I don't think I will do is really care about what people, if an ideal or something comes, if a thought comes, I'll consult with people that I feel close, but to really care about what the masses think, because that was one thing that really sort of held me in a bind, thinking of what the masses think. And if I try it, if it doesn't work, then it just doesn't work. Not because I think the masses are gonna be critical of it. So listen to me. So sometimes I put pressure on myself before there's any pressure even to accept. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So that
it's that late in the midnight hour stuff that we be worrying about that really nobody cares about.
Nobody cares about. Yes. And the one thing that I think organization. I am horrible at organization. I am. So going forward, I got to work harder at being more organized. One thing that I learned, doing legitimate business, not necessarily hustling. You got to be organized. These taxes got to be done. These things, you got to be organized. So that's the one thing that I know I've learned, and I got to get much better at that. And the other thing is, once I have ideas, be ready to move on.
Yeah.
So, but those are the things that I've learned about myself. This year was a really emotional roller coaster ride for me. Really, really for a lot of people, but for myself, because the first day that I finally got the website up, and we sold out in that time we sold out in a little over an hour. Yes. Which was so exciting. Was so exciting. But then the very next day, we find out my mother is diagnosed with cancer. So this year's just been.
You had high highs and low
lows. How do you balance that? Is one thing I'm learning. How do you balance those things? And it's just
one day at a time, one moment at a time, and breathe. I think all four of us are trying to learn that and continue to build on that. That's what the 2020 is all about, breathing.
Okay, so Christy, we have like a couple minutes, and we talked about you earlier, but you got to tell the people what's happening on Saturday, girl.
Oh, well. As the times, you talk about highs and lows, but we're slated to open on Saturday. We're super excited. Woo-hoo. And then one of our repairmen tested positive for COVID. So we pushed it a week back. We're all testing negative. Everybody's literally getting their test results as we speak. And
Yes.
everybody's negative. So we're good.
Okay.
We're fine. We just got to get this thing open. And you know what? A little more time ain't hurting nobody.
Right.
Not at all.
Right.
So
Yes.
we gonna take it. We gonna take the time that we need. Hold on, y'all.
There's probably a couple of
Get
things
that.
that you can fine tune and tweak and
Girl, listen. Y'all know this is my first time on this particular block. Not that this is my first time, Teresa. It's not my first time. But she been getting on me.
Don't let her jump on here and get on you.
I'm gonna, but we did our test run last weekend and it was so fun. I had so much fun and it was so like just interesting. Sure, our ticket times were horrible and everything, but the food was beautiful. We got everything out. We learned a lot. And so just looking forward to it. And so now our new date is December the 5th. And we're going to be ready. We're going to be
Can
ready.
you put some cameras in the kitchen so then we can watch all the time, please?
Can you just be live so we can sit there?
I started to.
We really want to get on the plane and be there. We really want to be there live ourselves, but could you just put a camera in there? We appreciate it.
I'm going to do it, especially next Saturday. I'm going to do it because I wanted to do it the other day, but I was too nervous.
No, oh my God. You like the most realest person we know when it comes down to stuff like this. So I can't see you ever being nervous.
I'm aspiring to your level of authenticity and vulnerability because I don't have it yet. Like, I don't have it yet. I'm getting there, though. I'm getting there.
Like, I think
I grew up feeling like
shining so bright, baby. It's your sunshine. It ain't nobody else's. Those rays ain't coming in from no other direction but yours. You know, and it's just you are the original.
And
it's funny because I grew up, Shanita, with this whole thing. Like, it was like I just always felt like the elders were hiding things from us, you know. And that's so irritating to me. It's like learn these lessons and tell these kids so they don't have to repeat what we did, you know. So I appreciate that.
And then they'll be like, I don't know why she act like that.
No, my kids, she's like, because that's too much information, Mom. I'm like, listen, you can't win for losing. So here it is.
Well, you guys, it's been an hour and it's been wonderful. It's always like catching up with old friends. So thank you guys so much for watching. Chrissy, make sure you send us all the information so that we can tag all of our pages and let everybody know how to support you. You guys are like doing amazing things in a pandemic, y'all. In a whole
pandemic. In the middle of a pandemic.
I just think about this, y'all. The thing about the pandemic is all the weak folks got out the way. And I ain't trying to be funny, but I'm just saying they moved out the way, so now we can just go.
I like that.
Sky the limit.
On that one, yes.
Yeah.
And on that note, we will see you guys back here next Wednesday.
No. Oh, it is next Wednesday. We are doing one next Wednesday. You guys, we only have what? 4 more shows? 2. No.
2.
Next week is December?
2. Yes.
We have 2 more shows for season 2.
So let me just say this really quick as we're about to close up. So that second Wednesday of December, we are bringing on as many Black products as we possibly can. Kirk, we will have you back. Want you to tune in. Chrissy, if you got some your Black Eyed Pea hummus, we're going to say, what's up? Shanita and I have something special that we're going to showcase also. We have at least 10 other products or more, and we're just going to keep going and going and going and boosting.
It's our own Black Food Business Cyber Wednesday. We want to bring those people on here so that we can sell their stuff, drop your website links, tell us about your products so that people can have enough time to get those orders in before Christmas.
That's right.
So with that,
thank you.
Good night, Chrissy. I got these for you. Good night.